So we can go on with the next speaker. It's Tiffany Cécile Fouché, or something similar. I'm sorry. From the National Library of France. Tiffany, when you want.
Thank you very much. I will share my slides. So thank you for the invitation. We are always glad to talk about Intermark NG. So I'm Tiffany Fouché. I work at the metadata department of the French National Library. I'm the pilot of the group which is in charge of writing Intermark NG. As the presentation is only 5 minutes long, I've put more detailed information in my slides. So I'm going to talk about Intermark NG. First of all, Intermark is our version of a mark cataloging format. New generation Intermark, or Intermark NG, will be the future cataloging format of the French National Library. We are revisiting Intermark to make it compatible to IFLA LRM and RDA FR. In this presentation, I will explain why and how Intermark NG is written and what is Intermark NG. First things, why did we choose to write a new format? I will detail 3 goals, but there is others. I've already said it, but it's very important for us. We want a cataloging format which is fully compatible with IFLA LRM and the French version of RDA. Secondly, we want to be able to precisely describe all the entities that we need. Thirdly, we want a cataloging format that evolves as fast as we need, in particular because of legal deposits. I've got another goal to say. Intermark NG must be compatible with the linked data. Now I will talk about how Intermark NG is written. We are about 5 people working every day or every week on the cataloging format. We are in contact with people of all the departments and various groups of the French National Library. This working process allows us to move forward by consulting all the people who will eventually use the future cataloging format. We don't want to miss any use or demands. You can read on this slide the founding principles of Intermark NG. With Intermark NG, we want to keep the principles of a mark format and remain compliant with the ISO 27009 standards. Furthermore, we've made a lot of evolutions. Firstly, suppressing the distinction of authority and bibliographical formats. There is only one format for all the entities. Secondly, suppressing indicators and coded information fields. Thirdly, we've tried to construct a more logical format by organizing the fields in coherent subblocks and by increasing their mnemonic logic. We have also paid attention to write a format which can be evolving and strongly logical. In order to do that, Intermark NG has 3 position subfields and alphanumeric fields. We also will be able to contextualize the data more accurately with the possibility of using metadata at the fields level. For example, to declare the source of the fields. Since we began to work on Intermark NG, we've done a lot of things and we've fixed the architecture and the general mechanism of the format. We've managed the labels logical allocation. we've taken the main user's demand into account. The published elements of RDA-FR have been integrated into the format, and we will have to revise the format to include elements from the future chapters of RDA-FR. We've also done the first test of InterMarkNG, and they are good. But there is still a lot to do. We must refine users' demands in order to have a really operational format. We must conduct large-scale tests. We must work on all the controlled vocabularies, and we must write the formats control. After that, the format will be fully ready to be used, and the work will be done, finished. So thank you for your attention, and if you have some question, we will be pleased to answer it.
There are a couple questions in the chat. First, what do you mean by 3-position subfields? Can you give an example?
I will let Françoise answer it if she is here, because I think she have.
Yes, we want to have only. Do you hear me? Only one format. We have used all the possibilities offered by the ISO 2709 standard, and so we have declared in the label implementation that we have the coded subfield codes are usually in Mark 21, in Unimark are on 2 position, and it is possible to have another choice, and so we have the decision to have on 3 positions. For example, yesterday we discussed about the links in the field for subject indexing, and so we will have, in order to explain the position, the value, not only the syntax but also the meaning of the information that is in the construction of an indexing. We propose to have a subfield for to link to the authority record to the entity that is describing, for example, a resource on the second tour. We will have the link to the entity which is describing for the concept of for the event of the Second War, and we will precise with another third position if it is the most important part of the resource or another one. So we can have much more. If we have only 3 positions for the subfield, we will have only the alphabet and the numbers. So with 3 positions, we have an extension that is much more usable. And so what the decision is to keep as far as possible for the catalogers the use the 2 position subfield codes, and when we need to have on 3 positions, but when we export our data, all will be on 3 positions. So we can have, for example, subfield $3R and $3B and so on.
Thank you. The next question, how widely used is Intermark in France? I mean, other than BNF. Does BNF provide data in other mark formats? Are there commercial ILS software supporting Intermark?
Intermark is mainly used by the BNF, but there are some other institutions that use it. We do a lot of conversion to other formats like Unimark to diffuse our data. And I don't know if some software can use Intermark, but Française, do you know?
The name of the software, I don't know. I can't say. I think in musical institution was the most current users of the Intermark format out of the BNF, and so we can Intermark is developed as the BNF format mainly, and it can be used by others, but it is not developed with this perspective. As Tiffen said, we do many conversions for the French libraries. So mostly Unimark, because Unimark is the official exchange format in France.
Thank you. The next question, would information be lost when converting to Mark 21?
We don't know yet, because we have not yet worked on the conversion to Mark 21, because the writing of Intermark NG is in another project who's called Noemi. It's a new cataloging tool for the French National Library. And in Noemi, we don't have yet worked on the conversion to other formats. We start with Intermark NG, and after we will do the other conversion. But I think that they will maybe have less structured data in Mark 21, but I don't know yet.
It will be the same in Unimark. That we know that some information will be given only on notes when they are much more structured in Intermark.
Thank you. The next question, what is the difference between Intermark NG and Intermark itself, which was adapted to LRM as well in an IFLA working group? Are they exchangeable?
Sorry, the question is from me, Sabina. I have to make, there's a typo in this. It means the difference surely between Intermark NG and Unimark.
Unimark.
It's not the same format. Intermark and Unimark are not equals. Intermark is really written for the needs and the requirements of the French National Library. It's our own version of a bibliographical format. So it's not the same things, and we want to have a format which will be fully and natively compatible with RDA-FR. So we keep a format for our needs. I don't know if I answered.
Thank you. That makes it clear. It's just for internal use. Yes. Thank you.